everyone. Welcome everybody here. It's nice to see you today. Welcome on our 68th local AWS meetup. Today we are here with two great presentations. First one would be from PMI, led by Piotr and Nuno, about scaling Jenkins. And the second one would be, as everybody right now is doing, a presentation about AI. And we'll get some knowledge from Marcin from AWS about how they are using AI. So big thanks also to our today's sponsor, to Philip Morris, PMI, because if not them, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have this awesome pizza and drinks. So big applause for them. Great. And I think I can give microphone to Piotr and Nuno.
Hello, good evening. I hope we'll have Nuno in a moment online on the screen. So welcome everyone. My name is Piotr Długoń and Nuno is with me. We are working in PMI IT HUB. Hub is counting more than 300 people here in Krakow. The company is quite big. I will say it in a few words in the beginning about the PMI, so we can share, I think, first slides, and then we'll switch to the, I think, more interesting topic about Jenkins at scale and availability in Jenkins, which was not so obvious for us how to implement it and how to manage it, and such feature was not available on the market before the last year. So it will be availability in Jenkins Enterprise Development. Nuno, if you could move the slides ahead and about PMI. Yeah, so a few words about the PMI. Quite big international company, almost 80,000 people around the world. Sorry. And as I said, 300 specialists here in Krakow. We are hiring, so if you are interested in like big data, AI, especially AI, because it's a really hot topic and will be presented by AWS. We have even a guy with us, which is responsible for the project. He can share the open position details. You can also scan the code. What else? More than 20 different nationalities, a lot of women, and 9 different departments. To not bore you too much, we'll move forward. About Nuno or me? I don't know who is first. Yeah, myself. So I'm working in IT more than 20 years. I was focused on the local infrastructure, then I switched to the cloud project. Since 6 years, I'm working closely with AWS. First as a manager of cloud operation team, and since 2 years as a DevOps manager, helping to deliver a platform called Deep. And we share a lot about this platform in the past, so I will not go to the details, but this platform is deliver DevOps capability, hosting capabilities based on AWS for more than 700 different products, applications. The biggest part of these applications were migrated from on-premise to the cloud, and in such complex environment, we are delivering tools for application product teams. This one of these tools is, of course, Jenkins for CI, and we faced like few problems in managing such big enterprise solution based on Jenkins. That's why we are using enterprise version from CloudBees. However, even from with this enterprise version, we're like facing problem with high availability because it's not delivered out of the box for Jenkins, and it's not so easy to deliver even right now. Nuno will go to the details and show you how we manage the problem, how we solve it. But this will be in the moment. So Nuno, you can present yourself.
Am I audible?
1 second, because we need to switch the audio. So we are ready, or we are waiting for something? 1 minute, okay. If we have 1 minute, Leandro, I will ask you to come to join me and share a few details about open positions.
Thank you very much, Piotr. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Leandro. I've been working in PMI initially in Argentina, then moved to Krakow. I've been here for around 8 years now. And I will be leading a team that will be implementing generative AI as a sandbox in PMI so that the data doesn't go outside and we can get all the benefits from GenAI. So if you go to LinkedIn, to PMI, there is over there already one position for DevOps, for advanced analytics, that is my team. And tomorrow there will be another one for AI and ML engineer. So more than welcome.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you very well, so you can start.
All right. First of all, I hope all of you guys out there in Poland are feeling well. My name is Nuno. I'm also, as Piotr, I'm part of the Deep team, basically supporting all of these core services we have here for mainly for CI/CD. Today I'll be talking about how we scaled our Jenkins and we implemented availability and how we keep things running. So moving forward, I will just show you what is the agenda for today. So we already did a brief introduction. We'll talk about, but we'll do a little bit more detailed introduction about CloudBees and what led us to choose CloudBees to the traditional Jenkins. We'll go and talk about why we decided to go to and implement availability for CI. Of course, pretty much all of us already know what is availability, but I'll try to focus more a little bit on the CI part. I'll detail a little bit what was our road to achieve availability, and of course, I will go through the main challenges that we faced, and at the end, I will do a brief pros and cons about having availability. So without further ado, I'll go and start by presenting a little bit what was CloudBees CI and what led us to choose this this application and not just the normal Jenkins. So basically, CloudBees allow us to have what we call multi-tenancy inside Jenkins. So it is more about the it's cloud native, of course, and it can be scaled. But the most and the important thing that was there for us is the developer-centric feature. Basically, you can have your own space inside Jenkins. It is independent from your team to other team that might be using Jenkins. So that was a huge benefit for us. And you have that central, there is an option to manage it centrally. There is an operation center where administrators can basically manage everything. Of course, because it is an enterprise solution, there is let's call security center, which basically keeps analyzing your space and see if there is any security flaws. It also generates reports, and it can be set to send these reports to the stakeholders of that space. So it's kind of control sandbox, let's call it like that. And of course, the balanced approach, because we allow the developers to do everything until a certain point. Of course, there is some kind of control in terms of permissions, so we are sure that we are not breaking things there. Just to do a quick comparative analysis between this enterprise version of CloudBees CI and the open source version. Of course, it's not free. It's a paid application. In terms of security and compliance, for Jenkins you have that basic and regular upgrades. But CloudBees goes a little bit a step further and has plugins that keeps monitoring and finding security flaws on your space. In terms of the support for Jenkins, you have the community support, which is already big, but for CloudBees CI, you have the professional one, which that is dedicated engineers working on your problems. In terms of plugins, of course, you have the community for and the base ones for Jenkins, but for CloudBees, there are some proprietary plugins, and actually Ag Availability is one of them. And in terms of scale and performance, of course, you can scale with Jenkins, but the way that you do it, it's not as easy as you do on CloudBees CI, and it's I would say properly set up. Okay, so moving on. Why we need Ag Availability for CI? And this was one of the questions that were put to us when we wanted to basically implement Ag Availability. And the first, and I would say the most important one is about the continuous workflow. What this means is that, let's say your team are doing a build and your CI system just crashes. There is a huge business impact on this, and of course we don't want to be the ones as platform managers, the ones impacting in the software delivery process. So this was one big advantage for us. And of course, to reduce the downtime. If we are keeping the system running for longer, of course, there won't be any kind of downtime. And also related to patching, because we are now using Ag Availability, we are also able to do some rolling patching, which also is a big thing for us, because currently we have 2 releases per month for Jenkins, so we are patching often. Scalability, of course, if we need more resources, we'll be able to offer that to the team. There is some spikes on big projects. Of course, not all the 700 teams are running on 100% of resources, but there are some that are big and requires a good amount of resources. Disaster recovery. Actually, this was the one that triggered this whole process. There is a funny story that basically we started this Ag Availability implementation because we wanted to have disaster recovery in Jenkins. As you guys know, or most of you know, Jenkins doesn't have like a database where it basically stores everything. It stores all its files, all its credentials, all the pipelines in the file system. So having Ag Availability, having a disaster recovery process is something we want to have in place, and of course, taking account all the other points already talked about, like continuous workflow. We didn't add any kind of way to recover in case of disaster. Our disaster recovery is scoped to not to the region, but to the availability zone, because we think that is a good compromise to have only to availability zone. So this was actually what triggered this whole process of the availability, because if we are able to have the same application running on 2 different availability zones, then it means that the disaster recovery will be covered for the availability zones. And of course, at the end is if our system is running for longer and the users are happy, of course the reliability will increase, because we want to offer the developer teams and everyone is using our system a good confidence rate, and we want them to feel that our system can be trusted and actually they feel good using it. Okay, so this, as you can see, this Ag Availability topic is kind of fresh. So it was released end of last year, 20 September. As I said, this is proprietary plugin that CloudBees released. So we started looking at the same time it released. Actually, it was something we kept on asking for them to release. And so we had to do some steps to implement this, because it wasn't really a straightforward thing like download, install, and that's it. So there was some setup, there was some migration that had to happen for us to achieve Ag Availability. So I will lay down some steps that we performed. And the first thing was doing an assessment, see whatever we already had implemented, what we will have to change on our infrastructure. So, and with that, we also had to come up with a design. That design I will show to you guys on the next slides. What was our strategy? But we wanted to have a good compromise in terms of costs, of course, and reliability. The third point is the migration, because we had a system that was in a place and we wanted to reach high availability. And of course, in terms of technical ways, there were things we had to change. I will go into the details a little bit further. And the last phase was the test one. So test everything that the availability actually working. And at this point, I actually have a demo that I will show. Okay, so this is our, let's say, design diagram. So basically, this is based on AWS, of course. So I will drive us through all the basic components. So basically, we have load balancer with Route 53 reaching to the external users. So means this application is externally exposed. So we have some protection around here, like WAF and such. But I want to focus on the part where we didn't add actually high availability. So we had our Kubernetes cluster right here. Let me try to point it out. It should be visible. So we had our EKS cluster right here. And right at this point, we had 2 availability zones, but the application was being provisioned in either one of these places or this one, based on, of course, the autoscaler, and it tried to keep a balance of the number of nodes on each availability zone. But yeah, at this point, we didn't have any kind of strategy to basically implement high availability. Of course, the change of this structure wasn't that big, but let me move a little bit further. But what we wanted to achieve is, instead of having either on one of the availability zone and or on the other, we wanted to have the same let's say Jenkins space running on both zones. With at this point, Jenkins was running on a stateful set with 1 replica only. So it wasn't able to be replicated to multiple zones, because first, the persistent volume wouldn't be the same. We will have 2 separate persistent volumes. So if you log into the application, you won't be seeing the same information if you will be using on one or the other node. So this was the first technical point aspect we had to change. And the other one was actually on the persistent volume, because out of the box, Jenkins was provisioning the persistent volumes in the let's say read only once. Means even if we migrated from a stateful set to a deployment and point to the same persistent volume, it won't allow us to mount multiple times, so it won't work. So this was the first issue and the first step we had to because we had to perform the migration. On the migration side, and that is when it comes to the challenges, we had a few challenges more related to the migration, because the vendor basically specified this exact same approach that I will show you now. They suggest us to do EFS synchronization, and with the synchronization, basically what they want us to do is they want us to migrate from persistent volumes that are read-only once to read and write multiple times. So it will be mounted to different volumes. Sorry, to different pods. And this is where it came to the first issue. This is good when you deal with a small scale, but when you deal with around 700 teams like we do, there are some things that cannot and won't go as expected, and that's what we faced. So basically, they expect the approach suggested from the vendor is to mount the old PV and the new PV. You can see it here, and do like an rsync to copy the files from one to the other. Of course, the new PV will be allowing multiple reading from multiple places, read write. But the problem that we face with rsync is that it was way too slow when copying the plugins from Jenkins. And also because some of our teams had more than 2.5 million of files. So to synchronize 2.5 million of files, it was taking more than 24 hours for us. That was something we tested on our development environment, and we had to drop this approach. That was one of the big reasons we had to drop this approach. The other issue we saw that we could have done this delta migration, means we could have synchronized everything, and then before shutting down the application, doing it all over again. It would have been faster, but there is a limitation on the number of access points, which is set to 1,000 on AWS. Means that EFS only allows you to have 1,000 access points. And why are we using access points? You can ask is because we are using EFS SC storage class from Kubernetes, and the only way it works right now is with dynamic provisioning, and dynamic provisioning out of the box, of course, uses access points. And the last thing that we also faced during this migration transformation was that we saw some files, encrypted files like credentials and so on, were corrupted. So immediately we know that this wasn't the way to go, and we came up with a second approach, which was using S3 backups. As you all know, Jenkins stores, and I already referred it, Jenkins stores everything on the file system. So actually CloudBees offers a backup plugin that basically what the plugin does is it takes a tar file from the Jenkins home where everything is stored, and pushes it to S3 as a tar file. So we tried basically to automate this process. So basically what we did was we took a backup from everything, we pushed it to S3, so around 700 backups. We cleared all the PVs, so the storage class will create a new one, and then we launched Jenkins completely empty, and we restored those backups from S3. This still took more than half a day to do, but we noticed that using the tar approach in S3 was way faster than trying to do an rsync between two different persistent volumes. So basically this was the approach we took to do the migration. Of course, there are a lot of other small things. We had to do a lot of automations that weren't out of the box there. But at the end, the result was the expected one. I think in total for the migration, it took around 16 hours. And we did a lot of smoke tests after the migration. And right now, we can say that we are finally running high availability. And now I'm getting into the pros and cons. Of course, the pros is about scale. One of the pros is the scalability, because we now are running on high availability. We can decide and we can scale based on the customer needs, which was something we couldn't. And a platform, it's good to have that option. Of course, the second one, business continuity. I already went through this. The whole purpose of this was to make sure our CI system is continued, and basically doesn't crash. If let's say one zone goes down, we still available on the second zone. Same goes for disaster recovery, because like I said, if one availability zone goes down, then the other one is there to back up. Performance wise, it's way faster because right now we have at least 2 replicas running, one on each zone, that the traffic is even and the load is even distributed. So it's way faster. And of course, near or zero downtime patching. On the cons, we have a much more complex setup because we had to do a lot of changes. Our system has a lot more configuration right now, and when we have some errors, it's harder to troubleshoot. Like if we have any issue with plugins and so on, it's harder to narrow down the problem. In terms of higher costs, actually this is a good point, and I can estimate that we're expecting to have double of the EC2 costs. It's not double, but it's close to double. But in our case, we think that's a fair trade, but still it's a con because we are paying more for the same system that for the end user sees at the end, right? And of course, the configuration challenge that we faced during all this process. We had to put a lot of time into figuring out those small pieces. We had to do a lot of things that in the end wasn't the way to go, like the EFS approach I wasn't showing you. But overall, I think this was, of course, a good experience, and right now we have, I would say, more trustable system. Okay, and now I have a little demo showing you how things are actually working, because I think it's fun to see things happening in real time. So I have recorded a movie here, which I will be playing. Let me remove this. Okay, and you can see that right here at the top, at my terminal top right, we have 2 pods running. So the Jenkins controller, you can see my screen. The UI running on the background is running on the pods that is showing at the top right. And what we'll try to do is we'll try to simulate disruption. Means let's say that one zone goes down, so we'll be killing one of the pods. Let me start it. So you can see both pods, and we are currently running on the first one. I'm starting the pipeline. You can see the output. It created the slave. You can see here created pod, and then is the slave where the build is running. And now let's simulate the disruption. Means that let's simulate that one of the pods goes down. Basically, the pod that is driving the build goes down. Okay, you can see it was deleted, and you can right away see at the log that Jenkins noticed that one of the controllers, the pods, went down, and it will resume the build on the second one. You can clearly see that by the log, and you can see that it's waiting for the reconnection to keep going on the build. Also note that at my terminal, I'm watching for the changes on the pods. Okay, you can see that it was resumed. This pipeline just did a basic sleep, and you can see that it resumed on the second pod, and the pipeline finished successfully. While if we didn't have high availability, this pipeline was most likely going to fail. Of course, on this case, it's just a simple test, but let's say that you are doing hotfix for production, that will, of course, heavily impact either your product or directly the business if it was something critical. At the end, you can see that while the slave is terminating, we'll see that a new pod will be provisioned, because this was just a simulation, but you can see that it will automatically recover and try to have always one pod running on each zone. We achieve that using pod topology spread constraints on Kubernetes, is a feature out of the box there, which basically we can set that we want to say that we want a pod on a specific zone by using the labels that are on the nodes. And we can see that it's the second pod was successfully provisioning, and we had again both pods running one on each availability zone. All right, and now we go into the Q&A.
Me to the stage. Great. So, do we have any questions? Okay.
Hi, did you consider other tools to CI and things like that? For example, Argo, or this was must to go?
No, I mean, Argo is more of a CD tool, right? Actually, we are considering and looking at the CD tools right now. Argo, of course, is one of those. And we also considering the cloud-based version, of course. But we are still assessing those CD tools as we want to see what the market has to offer us. But if you're asking in terms of CI tools, we are going to perform a market assessment for CI tools, things like GitHub Actions, GitLab CI, CloudBees, to see if there would be a better replacement for Jenkins. But yeah, it's a different scope.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Here's one.
Hi, Nuno. Thanks for the presentation. I'm wondering, what are you using as an underlying PVC, and how do you keep them in sync since they are in different availability zones?
Yeah, so the PVs and PVCs are using EFS, means they are not at one zone. So both of these pods, and you can ask us if the EFS is a point of failure, and I would say yes, and we are covered because we have both replications and backups. But yeah, both PVs are pointing to the same EFS. So if you have one pod on availability zone A and availability zone B, they will be both pointing to the same EFS.
Okay, so who's next? Here's one question.
Hi, thanks for the demo. I have a question. Did you have a chance to prove it's working on prod during a real-time incident? Or maybe you've tested something like a chaos engineering also killing things on prod?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, because it's just a CI system, it not means that it will directly impact the running application production. It will impact, however, if you want to do an upgrade or just bump up a version or deploy an hotfix, right? And actually, you already tested a few times that, let's say you are just building a Docker image to be deployed to production, and your environment just crashed because lack of resources. Because we have high availability, and this already happened, it was able to successfully recover from those issues and just move on the build and complete the build of the Docker image and keep going on during the workflow.
Okay, I see next hand.
Hi, Chris speaking. So I wanted to ask, so you have like one Jenkins instance because you mentioned 700 applications. So I'm wondering if it's just one, or do you have like few of them dedicated for each team? And where is the like limitation for end user access? So do they have an access for like manage the Jenkins instance, or it's only on the administrative level?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. So we have more, I would say, even more than 700 applications. We have 700 teams, and of course, each team has multiple applications. But yeah, we have a granular access for each space, let's call it, because this is a multi-tenant system. So each team has its own little space to work on Jenkins, and because we are using a cloud-based version, each space can have a segregated access. Means that we have a role that can be requested for admins. We have a role for developers. And like the developers won't have access to the managed Jenkins, only the owners of that space will. So all of those permissions are segregated.
Okay, thanks. I see next question.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I have a question about EFS, especially EFS performance. What sort of profile are you using? Are you using burstable credits, elastic bursts, or provisioned through output? What sort
provisioned throughput? Yeah.
Okay. Can you elaborate more on how many data are synced within like 24 hours between the endpoints?
Yeah, I can. So because we are doing it in parallel, we have around 2 terabytes of data. But to be honest, I didn't think that the size of the data was the causing the bottleneck here. I think it's because we have a lot of files. And because if I'm just doing a copy of a file with 1 gigabyte, it was fast. But if we try to do a copy of, let's say, 5,000 files with 1 gigabyte, it will take a while for us.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have more questions? So I think that's all from the room. Thank you, Nuno, for a great presentation.
I appreciate for the time and hope you guys are having a good one out there.
Okay, so I think we can go for a short break. We will have a 10-minute break, but remember about one thing, that we've got quiz. And Maria, can you showcase it? Yes, so in a moment we will see on the screen the quiz, and yeah, we've got it. So you can answer a few questions to obtain a few nice rewards. And I think that's all. We're going on a 10-minute break. And after the Okay, so we are going with our second part of today's meeting. And as we were saying before, Marcin will be talking about AI. Also, remember about the quiz. There are already 16 answers, so there's pretty big competition. And what? I'm giving you the stage.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Marcin Stadnik. I'm a territory manager at AWS, and I'm responsible for SMB market. So today we've got a presentation focused on GenAI. My colleague, Wojtek, unfortunately, he's sick, but he prepared a great presentation. He also prepared some additional resources, what I can share with you later on. I hope that Wojtek will join another session in the future and share his experience. As you see that he's specialized in GenAI, so I hope that he can do much more for this user group in Krakow. So maybe I'll just do a short introduction. So as I said that my background is much more business background. So today in this presentation, I will just show you something what we usually communicate to our customers and what in fact AWS is doing with GenAI. So I'm working with a Polish customer. So I joined Polish team at the beginning of this year because last 2 years I spent with partners and customers in Czech Republic and Slovakia. So I also attended such similar groups in Prague. I've got similar experience. So I work with partner and customers. Now it's almost 7,000, so it's a lot and different industries, different kind of customers. This year I'm focused on digital healthcare and renewable energy industries. And this topic for GenAI, it's one of the common topic what we discuss. Sometimes a kind of door opener, sometimes a discussion about the private interest or business and professional interests. So I'm also a dog lover. So as you can see, if you've got also any kind of dogs and on the south part of Krakow, so I'm happy to join for a walk. You can find me on LinkedIn. Here is a QR code to my profile. And if somebody will be interested in the meetings, here is also linked the link to my calendar, and you can book any meetings. We can also arrange any meetings together with our essays just to explain any interesting topics. Okay, agenda for today's meetings. We've got 3 topics. First, we start talking about traditional ML and generative AI for responsible AI solutions. Next, just to discuss something about challenges, and I will share also some best practices what AWS implements in our solutions. Let's start with the definition and dimensions. First, what is responsible AI, and what is important to build such solutions? Yeah. First of all, it's to build the systems which are fairness. So what means that we treat all users in an equal way. So we need to be really sensitive in terms of the sex and the nationality and the ethnical parts, because in fact to build trustworthy platforms and the solutions, we need to include this. Explainability, it's another dimension. It's a mechanism which also helps to understand how this solution works and how it's built. Also, another topic, it's connected with the security, privacy and security. As you know that for AWS, security is #1 in terms of the access and to protect any data. And this is also important for end customers who are using any platforms, that they must be absolutely sure that any sensitive information what will be used to generate any information to answer their questions will be protected in the proper way. So we also need to be focused about robustness, that we would like to be confident that any AI systems cannot be easily flooded or confused. When we talk about some platforms, some solutions, all the time it's important that the data must be accurate. Maybe some of you recognize this picture. So have you ever seen this picture, maybe during the studies or any other places? So it's a survival bias. It was, for the people who don't know this story, it came from the story from the Second World and the aircrafts, which back and return to base, and in fact, they've got a lot of damages. And the engineers started just to investigate what are the places where they should repair or their armor better. And they focus only on those aircrafts which could back to airports. So what was a really like kind of a logical error, which was in fact defined by Abraham Wald, that in fact this data, when you focus on the wrong scope of the data, can impact on the solutions what you build. And this is something what I wanted to present to you, because I work with different kind of customers from different industries, and each industry could have the same challenge, like, for example, in healthcare. Because I just put this picture just to show you what could be really important problem with building AI or machine learning solutions. For example, with the doctors in Poland, for example, we've got a big challenge that if a doctor works on any emergency or any places where in fact they must make any short decisions, there is no special systems and the procedures which in fact allow them or encourage them to report any errors. In fact, we don't collect information what's going on wrong, how many human errors happens. Only maybe we can, for example, modify some procedures. And each industry has got the same problem. And how we can improve and build better solutions. Maybe rely on the larger scope of information and include them in some models what can build new data, or just to implement procedures or systems which can help to gather much more detailed information. Yeah, okay, so and now we will discuss a little bit about traditional machine learning and GenAI. So this is the common question when I've got during the meeting with the customers, sometimes from the people, business people who in fact would like to understand, because usually they share the idea, oh, I heard about GenAI, so maybe I used to some of my private personal issues, personal matters, some ChatGPT, and that experience they would like to translate to their situations. And with traditional machine learning solutions, we discuss the main purpose. What is the purpose for such solutions? What they would like to, in fact, achieve? Because when we started the discussion about general topic about AI, we need to define what is the difference between machine learning, which in fact is focused on a prediction, classify based on the patterns in data, compared to GenAI, which in fact generate new data based on the patterns and understanding of trained data. So that's why there's a difference. And if you would like to compare and present some examples, it's good to start with the outcomes, what you would like to achieve. If you are looking for the solutions which can help you to generate something new data. For example, many times I present the example of typical implementations of machine learning solutions for the prediction. I used to work with the customer. It was a bus manufacturer, and they produce the buses and deliver to different cities. And of course, there was a computer which in fact collect all information which helps them to predict maintenance and how in fact they need to order in advance some spare parts or just to manage this part. And for them, it wasn't necessary to build any new set of data, because in fact, this is something what in fact can be realized by a typical machine learning solution. But another customer who in fact was focused on offering the solutions for renting houses, renting warehouses, houses, and different kind of real estates. They wanted to have a tool which in fact helps them to generate some animations, something what in fact can be adjusted to the customers who in fact would like to have some visualization. And they wanted to build the solutions which helps to translate, for example, some description in text, transform to the pictures, transform to some videos. Then it makes sense to consider GenAI. Okay, so now we are starting discussing about some challenges. And the first, which is recognized in many cases, it's hallucination. And hallucination in GenAI, it's something what we can describe in really simple words. Here is a request which was sent by my colleague. Anton is a solution architect. He's based in Prague. And he just sent requests just who is Anton looking. And hallucination is something what, in fact, when you ask the question, it builds the answer, which looks like something realistic. But in fact, when you ask the question, you can get as a feedback the information which can fit to different people, because we don't know which exactly we are talking about Anton looking. I've got another example which can be much better to understand. I like this much more. It just happened, maybe you heard about this from television or from the internet, about the case of Air Canada. And this case of Air Canada is not only one, probably the last one, because on probably at the beginning of February or end of February, there was an announcement that the court in the US just to advise that Air Canada wasn't so as much care about their systems. In fact, chatbot made a mistake and inform in the wrong way the customer. Probably you can find many descriptions what exactly it was. But with Air Canada case, it was a situation when the customer got the information from the chatbot, that chatbot was fed with many information, but without any full context. And the issue with this customer was that the chatbot from Air Canada informed that he's allowed to get a special ticket with the discount, because they've got a special program that if you've got any unusual situation, like in a funeral or something like a critical situation, you can get a discount within 90 days. But there wasn't information and about the full context. And there was a question, really questionable, that the information which was provided by chatbot was in fact accurate, and who is responsible for such situation? Who in fact should be responsible for this information which are updated or not updated, and the difference between information what the customer could get from regular call center or get from the chatbot. Finally, it was announced that it was that Air Canada was fully responsible for the chat. As you can see, that is also the link to another case, WestJet. It's still about the same industry, but I think that the situation can happen in every industry, because everything depends on this scope of information, and in fact how we ask the question. Yeah. Okay, next topic. It's toxicity and safety. Everybody probably, or everybody of us probably met situations when this hateful content appeared somewhere. And what challenges we usually met with such GenAI systems, that we need to prevent users to get offensive content or just to control in some way and not impact on the information what we share with the users. So this is something what solutions which are implemented on AWS include. And there is something what we can show you. I think that Wojtek prepared kind of a demo for you, just to test if you would like. But at AWS, AI Cloud includes safeguards, which in fact can mitigate some stereotyping. For example, you see this question. If you would like to ask who is a better driver, men or women, so you get the information like there's no clear one answer, because we avoid the situation that any kind of the user can become uncomfortable. And it also can impact on perception, how the company is recognized on the market. The same questions can be related to any other topics which are sensitive. If you ask, for example, which country is the best, or some about nationality, which in fact should be limited. This demo, what I mentioned, will be available, and if you would like to test it and just to see how it works, I think that at the end we can share some links and show you that how to test this. Another issue is intellectual property. It's not a problem when we discuss about some artists which are well known, but what could be the risk for the people who in fact are not a public person, but they create something and their works can be used to create another content. And many customers ask who in fact is the owner and who has got the rights for the results which were created with GenAI. So, and in fact, many regulations are under preparation now, and many processes are started ongoing with this. And in fact, we don't have now, right now, at the moment, clear answer that you are fully protected by the law or by any regulations, that you are the owner of everything what was created. So what I said, that it's the biggest problem is for the content which is created using some not as public person, and in fact it's hard to prove that you are the owner and you created this. Okay, and now our commitment and what in fact AWS is doing in developing AI in responsible way. So, and first topic with it is, just a moment, make notes. So first of all, we are helping our customers to transform to practice and experience, and we focus to introduce fairness and explainability, that customers can understand how these tools works and what are the limitations. We also provided tools which in fact provide some mechanism what helps to control machine learning life cycle, including design, development, deployment. And the last topic is important because it's focused on the people and the education. People-centric approach is important. We offer for end customers, for developers, for all people who are interested in our technology, access to Skill Builder. I hope that most of you got access because Skill Builder, it delivers almost 600 different courses on demand. Of course, there is also paid version of that, more advanced trainings, kind of workshops, and some deep dive sessions. But in fact, we also focus on this education part. And in our opinion, it's something what absolutely it's important and helps to build reliable solutions. best practice. This is something what at the end I would like to emphasize. And first of all, focus on the use cases. So we need to define fairness for any use case and develop training algorithms that enforce that definition. And every use case can be absolutely different. So that's why we need to also include such risk and adjust requirements to any own unique set of the risks. This is something what I also mentioned about this prioritization for education and diversity. Diversity is also important just to include different approach and different perception, because it's connected with the perception, how we build the solutions, how sensitive we are when we build any solutions. And also it's also the topic when we discuss with the customers that, okay, so this solution can help me to achieve better results, but what will be the impact on the society? And what will be the impact on our brand awareness, and what will be the impact on our employees? So those things we recommend to include in the strategy for building any AI solutions. Tests. Yes, this is something what is absolutely important, just to test, and each use case should have its own performance evaluation. It's absolutely important to adjust proper and necessary resources, which in fact helps to do that in a better way. Yes, we also need to focus on across all AI life cycle. So we want to make sure that you are interacting over the end of all AI life cycle, because there are many components, and it's really over the conception. We should be also be focused on any stages, starting from the conception, test, staging, developing, deployment of any services. And the last one topic is introduce also governance, policies, and accountability. It is something what in fact helps to measure in place as well, because this is something what can impact on any other systems. I also included something like for the summary, because we talk a lot about our products. We presented some roadmaps for the products, and many people asking that, okay, so how we can maybe divide this technology stack, and what could be the criteria to adjust any solutions. So as you can see that there are main three pillars where we can find any solutions. And the first, it's something what we can call as a fully managed service for immediate impact. This part concerns the products which we called Amazon Q Group, and Amazon Code Whisper. We've got another groups like tools for builders to leverage generative AI. And those solutions which are recognized in this area, it's mostly focused on Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock, and also SageMaker. And the last part concerns developing your own foundational models. And here you can find also infrastructure and also the solutions which we provide for the customers. It's SageMaker Hyperpod. I also just prepare for you, really just summarize AI service categorization. But this is something what in fact helps to understand much better which solutions we offer and how we divide them, and which of them you can find. It's one important information I included, because we got a separate topic for security, generative AI in security, not available AWS offering, because these questions appear many times, and the people ask how we can deal with that. It's something like ongoing, absolutely will appear, but not at the moment. We don't have such individual offering. Okay, so as I mentioned that if you've got any technical questions and you would like to talk in details, I will share with you a link. You can find a link to Prelude. Prelude is a tool to schedule any meetings. You can find on my profile and Wojtek profile on LinkedIn. It's easy to find if you type even the name, and other resources are linked with our profiles. I've got also a quiz for you. So if you can scan and find a proper answer, we've got some gifts for you.
Yeah, the vouchers are waiting for you. And we need to remember that there are vouchers for AWS, not the Amazon marketplace. Like, not for the Allegro version of Amazon. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but... So, okay, do we have any questions to the Marcin's presentation? Anybody want to learn more about AI?
Hey, thanks for presentation. So quick one. So what's the high-level model? Basically, because what we see is like lots of companies are building different foundations models, probably. I don't know how precisely call them. But as I understand, AWS is pursuing the same thing, and all of those tools are leveraging the model that you are building in-house, or you are rather saying, hey, we provide you the tools and you build whatever model you want, and just we teach you how to do it responsibly.
You know that everything depends on the kind of a customers, because when we talk with the commercial customers and they are looking for solutions which they can easily implement, and they don't want to build something from the scratch. But on the other hand, we've got another group of the customers which are building some solutions, and they are looking for some models and something what in fact allow them to be much more flexible. What I can say from my experience, mostly I work with SMB customers, so they are looking for solutions which can help them to use the resources what they've got for another purpose, and to build something ready to implement. And they are focused more on to implement some pieces of the solutions which already exist. Many times they are looking for some references. So this is, because this is something which helps us a lot. So that's why we are gathering information about existing projects and share such experience with a local market. This year, GenAI became really popular. So in the pipeline, we've got many interesting topics. If you would like to listen, I can share you that I've got a lot of projects for digital medicine. I shared today that really interesting topic for the company, which in fact invented a tool which helps to define retinopathia, and also based on some pictures of your eye, they can adjust a tool and build the model which helps to identify the risk of so different risk. That's something what can happen with you, and present. Another topic, it's connected with energy, what helps to build a dynamic measurement processes and adjust to the current needs and also to the prices for the energy, because this is something what is really dynamic and required to adjust to the proper situations and requirements.
And just to follow up, so basically those examples that you mentioned, they are leveraging the current AWS stack?
Yes.
Okay, so how would you say, how are you protecting, let's say, from someone that inherently wants to have a bad use case? For example, he wants to build a model that has a negative bias. I don't know, maybe I want to radicalize a group of people and I will leverage the tools that you have. Is there any kind of protection against that, or you don't have such an insight into what someone is building?
Yeah, so we've got some tools which in fact helps to set such criteria that we don't allow to. Of course, we don't. You for example, can set requirements that any offensive any information sensitive. Sometimes, for example, customers would like to implement some instructions, but they would like to avoid instructions which can be worst for the end users. Something like not to treat the solutions like a Google doctor, or not to treat the solutions like a instruction how to build any weapon. And this is something what in fact we implement in our solutions, and this is something what works. That's why many customers are looking for a set of rules which in fact can implement and don't care about this situation that a chatbot, for example, will give some instruction which are against the rules or against the social rules. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Also, there is always a security shared model that like anybody can rent EC2 with GPU and build any model they want. So
yes,
basically then AWS won't have any saying what are you training, because they don't know what's on your disk, like on the disk which is attached to your EC2. Okay, so another question. Remember that we have rewards for the people who are asking the most questions.
Hi, I have a question, actually 2 questions. First is, can you fine-tune these models, which are on AWS, because on Microsoft side you can, I know that. And the second question is, what about data residency? For example, I have a client who would like to have some fine-tuning with large language model, but data have to be in Poland. I know in AWS we have Poland zone, but are those products in this zone or not yet?
So maybe I will start the second question. Yeah. Yes, we've got a data zone in Poland, and as you know that data zone, it means that there are limited services. Not all services are here in Poland, but S3 is available, and some EC2 instances also. If we talk about more advanced services, so we need to check. So that's why I wouldn't confirm that any GenAI solutions will be fully hosted in Poland. Yeah. So that's why I couldn't answer directly for your questions. But I think that if you would like to have any confirmation, I can ask our SA just to confirm and check exactly for any specific configuration how it works. Because as I said, that it could be some exceptions here. And first question was, sorry, on?
First question was about fine-tuning models.
Fine-tuning. I need to ask my SA to support me in this answer for this question. Yeah.
Okay, we've got another one.
Hello.
Hello.
On which level you introduce this censorship? You mentioned rules and like social rules. So please tell us a little bit more about censorship. Mm-hmm. How is it introduced and how is it regulated internally or maybe by state? I don't know. Thank you.
Okay. So I mentioned about some rules, social, if we can say that in a simple word, social rules, that we can set some criteria in our solutions that how this, for example, chatbot will be sensitive. I mean about AWS.
Who?
AWS. Yeah. So we as a vendor, we've got such.
We AWS. It's like a little bit general, but can you please name these people, like kind of a commission, like censorship commission? On which level is it introduced? Who it consists of? Like a little bit in detail. It's very interesting.
Okay. So if you would like to in details. So unfortunately, I can't answer for that question. So absolutely, if you would like to learn much more about this mechanism, how it works and where it comes, I recommend just to set separate meetings and discuss with our SSA together.
There is no information. I have tried to search. Mm-hmm. There is no information. Who is we? Who is we? Who is AWS? Who is like this committee which introduced censorship? So I want to hear about it from a real person.
But you know that some information are not public, and you know that in many cases we can't publish everything, and sometimes if we've got a signed NDA, then we can explain much more details. But I agree that sometimes it's we as a general, that AWS, a team who created this, and there are not any specific information.
So what you mean is that under this like abstract term, we no one can know who like makes these decisions, these very important decisions on how to limit capabilities of this AI. You mean no one can even learn who are these people?
You know that if you would like to go with details, I think that we can try to connect with right team who has got such knowledge, just to explain, because I absolutely understand your question, that it's really crucial to understand who built that and what was the criteria to set this and how it's executed. And this information, unfortunately, I don't have such information. In many cases, we requested for white papers, some detailed information, and then we share it to customers that, okay, this is the model and how it was built, what includes, and how it's also sometimes many roadmaps are not public, because you know that this information also are under NDA. Welcome.
Okay, so do we have any more questions? Not seeing any hands. Oh, here, behind me.
Hello. Is it paid product or it's like open community?
Sorry?
Is it paid? Do you need to pay?
No, absolutely no. No, it's available for this community. Yes, it's available for everybody. Yeah. Yeah. So you know that I mentioned about this meetings, what we organize with the customers who would like to partners who would like to learn more. We've got a dedicated teams, which in fact works with everybody, and any consultation, any part what we need, it's available free of charge.
Does that mean we will pay with our data?
Pay for data.
Does it mean what we will pay with our data? What you could collect, store our data, make like own research?
You mean, sorry, because I didn't catch here. So
yeah, I mean like we will share our information, our data, which you could store it and we could like make model. Does that mean we will pay by our data?
No, it doesn't work in that way. So of course, the data which in fact you need to send to S3, for example, to process. And this is the cost of the services. And of course, if you, for example, process this data and you need to store them, unfortunately, you need to pay for that. It doesn't happen free of charge. And if you would like to store results, it also depends on you. Because you can, for example, put some data to the cloud to process, to generate new, for example, pictures, videos, anything, and not to store resources, but only store results. But I think this is a more technical issue, how it works and how to improve this process, because unfortunately I cannot answer. It's more questions to Wojtek, yeah. But it's an interesting topic, and absolutely, if you would like to deep dive, I recommend to arrange another short meetings. And sure, as I said, that there is some kind of demo. Probably you will find much more interesting part in the demo. But you know that we need to find any other date for such meetings, or just to do it on site, off site.
Also, to the last question, I can add something from myself, like from similar company, that at least for now, the rules of at least Europe, probably USA too, are not so keen on what can be used and what cannot be used. So basically, most of the companies are just not using personal data or data of their clients to like train or do something with the models until there is strict rules. Until the strict rules will be created. So right now we are in the gray zone. Do we have any more questions? Okay, so I think we can congratulate Marcin for his talk and taking his time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also remember about the quiz, because in a moment we will be giving out the vouchers. Yep. Yeah, and one of the important informations is that AWS Community Days Poland are coming closer and closer, because 11 April in Warsaw, there will be the next one, which will have a lot of great speeches from a lot of experts from different companies, and I think also AWS. There will be few people from AWS, so it's a great opportunity to meet, talk, discuss your ideas, or just to ask more specific questions to the experts from different zones of AWS.
Yes, and what is important, Community Day, it's much more technical event. There another event which is going to happen at the end of the year, but we wouldn't like to announce now, but it will be more business and technical, and this one is absolutely focused on the technical issues.
Yep, I can confirm where are the last two, and all of the presentation are usually based on some practical knowledge or some practical cases. So there is no like theoretical text. We are only getting real stuff, the juicy fun.
Yeah. What is important? Registration is free of charge. So it is going to happen to Warsaw in Centrum Nauki Kopernik. So I know that the tickets are limited, but still available.
I don't think so.
It's still
But
registration
there is
should be
possibility
closed today.
Yeah, there is possibility to also like write an email to get on the reservation list, because I think it's at the end or after the end already.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think that's all about Community Days. We've got the quiz. Can get back here. Great. But there is also a moment for rewards, for questions. So we've got a few backpacks from PMI. And who will get them? Do you have any propositions?
Definitely those who raise interesting questions, and yeah, maybe start from the right side.
Okay.
Still a mic for a moment. I heard someone, but I don't recall who asked the first question to Nuno.
At the end.
At the end, yeah. Exactly.
Congrats.
Congrats. Yeah. And the last
Who will
one.
be the third person?
About storage. I think it was here. Congratulations. Passing the voice, and I will only add that we'll also be available on the Community Day as a sponsor, but also as a presenter. So I hope some of you will join and meet us.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you've got presentation, yeah?
Yeah, the presentation will be pretty similar. We'll add few more technical slides to make the audience happy. And let's see how it will go.
Great. Okay, now I've got two mics, so give me a moment to leave one. And we can give away more rewards. So I think there was one interesting question from the left. So congrats. Also, I think there was interesting few questions for our last presentation on the back also. Okay, congrats, guys. Some life. Who more? Maria, do you saw somebody who should get rewarded?
it's hard to point exactly who it is. So maybe I give it my personality. Thank you. You can throw it away.
Are we doing that? Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I need to train a little bit about throwing, so sorry, guys. And I think we can go with quiz. Okay, so let's see who is the lucky winner.
Yes, we have two AWS vouchers, $50 worth each to give away, and one of them goes to Pavel Gorszczak. And the second one goes to tomasz.com.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the vouchers will be sent over email. So you don't need to get here. You will be, you will get them on the mail. So congrats, our winners.
And one more information about upcoming next meetup. We are planning to have it on the second part of May. So stay tuned. We will inform on our meetup and on LinkedIn.
And last words from me before ending today's meetup. Also, I wanted to thank and congratulate everyone who helped to organize this meeting. So big bravo for Kasia, sorry. I'm very bad with names, sorry. For Alina. For Jacek from Hevre. And of course, for the whole support to, oh my God. It looks so bad, yeah?
And for Pavel, of course.
That was not me, but okay. For Maria. And I need to learn some names. So thank you guys for today.